Okay, so in terms of the blended learning competencies, I want to choose domain two, qualities, as the domain where I think I've done the best job. Um, Especially compared to what I said in my last voice thread, grit, transparency, and collaboration really all do fall within what I consider that sort of emotive part of teaching. The more emotional, kind of relationship-based kind of teaching that I like to do. So for domain two, competency one, grit, engaging in deliberate practices and persevering towards ambitious long-term educational and professional goals, that kind of sums me up. I mean, 22 years of constantly trying to get better in the classroom. This will be, my second master's degree that I complete. I actually have an uncompleted or an incomplete master's degree from Loyola because I just wanted to take classes to kind of engage myself in more professional upkeep. And I think that has always been who I am. And I like to try to model that for my students. I want them to see me in school. I want them constantly aware of what I'm reading and what I'm working on, so that my students down the line will see that, when you're really passionate about something, if you put your all into it, good things will come. Transparency, competency two of domain two, is another that I really love. Lately, I would say the last 2 or 3 semesters, I've really embraced this idea of failure in education. I think it's something that I've been attempting to work on more, and I think everyone should do in the classroom. We don't embrace failure enough, and we need to let our students know that failure is just a first attempt in learning, and that it's only negative if you don't sort of reflect and re-engage yourself and try to kind of improve. Everybody fails, and it's only those who, going back to competency one, have that grit, that perseverance to try something again. They're the only ones who do eventually fail, the ones that never do get back on that horse, so to speak. And so I try to help my students understand that everything is objective, that yes, you might have gotten this grade on this assignment, but that does not define who you are. What it means is that we need to work on these areas. And a lot of that ties certainly into competency three, collaboration. The better I work, not only with my students, but with other colleagues, to improve my teaching, to improve my relationships, I become a better person. The hallmark of this program has been the cohort model, and we are such a tight-knit group. And obviously there are groups within the cohort. There are those of us who don't go a day without talking to each other, and not always about school, which is awesome. But extending that to the colleagues in your school, your students, is to me incredibly important. And so when I look at domain two, qualities, I think more of sort of that heart of teaching, and that's really where I feel I shine in many ways. Now, again, looking through these different domains, in all domains, I found places where I excelled and places I could do better. Oddly, the one that I think, piggybacking on what I said in the standards voice thread, that I could improve is ironically technical skills. And we think of graduates of an ed tech program as probably being very high in technical skills, but here again, the data practices show up again. I know this was one of our quiz questions for the third quiz about data practices showing up in both standards and competencies. And I do need to focus on that better. I need to, not just look at a pack of papers and say I have to get through this. I have to look at a pack of papers and say, how did each individual student do relative to the last time that individual student wrote something for me, which is an extra step that I think myself and a lot of teachers don't add on. So I think domain four, competency one, data practices, I could really improve upon. But then technical skills, competency two, instructional strategies, I think I'm pretty good with different models of learning and different diverse learning activities. And management of blended learning experiences and instructional tools, I think I'm okay with also. So I think, like I said in the last voice thread, what this is showing me is that for any list of standards and competencies, no one is going to be perfect. We all have something to learn. And what we should be doing is really celebrating those areas we do well and just being open to the areas where we need to improve, because improvement in those areas is just going to lead to more student success, more happiness in our teaching positions, and really more fun collaborating with our colleagues and our students, and sort of challenging ourselves into creating new innovations. So these were really neat. I plan to kind of keep a printout of these somewhere that I can kind of diligently look at them all the time in this coming school year, and really maybe highlight a few of them to remind myself, hey, practice this week, or try this with this assignment or this lesson or this assessment, and see if you feel like you've improved at all. Because again, reflection is going to be sort of an ongoing thing from now on, and these lists are great examples of things I could reflect on.